There are two kinds of factories in this world: factories that welcome cameras, and factories that never let a single lens through their doors. Rolex is the second kind. In over 120 years of making watches, Rolex has never, not once, given the public a real look inside how they build what many consider the greatest watch ever made. No factory tours, no behind-the-scenes documentaries, no press access. Just silence. But here's the thing: the secrets that Rolex protects inside those walls? They might be the most impressive manufacturing story ever told. Today, we're going inside. Welcome back to Indiflow, the channel that takes you behind the walls of the most secretive manufacturing operations on the planet. If you're new here, we've already been inside the factories that make your iPhone, your Louis Vuitton bags, and the gold in Fort Knox. But nothing, and I mean nothing, has been as difficult to research as this one. Because Rolex doesn't just guard their factory, they guard every single supplier, process, and technique as a state secret. So buckle up. This is the most complete look at Rolex manufacturing that has ever been assembled for the public. If you've ever wondered why a Rolex costs $10,000 and up, you're about to find out. Hit subscribe, and let's go. To understand why the factory is so secretive, you first have to understand what Rolex actually is. Rolex is privately owned. It's not publicly traded on any stock exchange. It has no shareholders demanding quarterly earnings calls. It is owned by a foundation, the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation, established by the founder himself when he died in 1960, specifically so that no corporation or investor could ever control the brand. That means Rolex answers to nobody. And with that freedom comes obsessive, almost paranoid secrecy. The company employs over 9,000 people across Geneva and Bienne, Switzerland, their two main manufacturing sites, and produces somewhere between 800,000 and 1 million watches every year. At an average retail price of over $10,000 per watch, that's conservatively $8 billion a year. But here's the number that should blow your mind: they could sell more, way more. They intentionally keep production lower than demand, which is why there are waiting lists at every authorized dealer in America right now. Why would a company leave money on the table like that? Because at Rolex, scarcity isn't a problem. It's the product. Most luxury watch companies buy their cases, their straps, even their movements from outside suppliers. Rolex does not. Rolex is what the industry calls vertically integrated, which means they control every single step of the process, from raw material to finished watch. It starts with the metal. Rolex actually has their own foundry. They smelt and cast their own gold alloys in-house, including their patented oyster steel, their proprietary 904L stainless steel that is harder, more corrosion resistant, and more expensive to machine than the industry standard 316L steel that every other watchmaker uses. Why does that matter? Because 904L steel is so hard that it destroys ordinary cutting tools twice as fast. Most manufacturers consider it too expensive to work with. Rolex decided the extra cost was worth it, and then they developed proprietary tools and processes to machine it efficiently. Processes they keep completely secret. For their gold watches, Rolex created 3 exclusive alloys: Everose Gold, their signature rose gold that never fades; Rolsor, their combination of steel and gold; and a green gold alloy for their Milgauss models. These alloys are patented. You cannot buy them anywhere else on Earth. Now we get to the part that makes engineers stop and stare. The Rolex watch case, that iconic oyster case that wraps around the movement, is machined from a solid block of metal, not cast, not pressed, machined from a single solid block. This is done on CNC computer numerical control machines, but not standard ones. Rolex uses, and in many cases designs, their own CNC equipment, capable of holding tolerances, meaning precision of 1/1000th of a millimeter. To put that in perspective, a single human hair is roughly 70 micrometers wide. Rolex is machining to 1 micrometer tolerances. That is 70 times thinner than a hair. A single oyster case can go through over 200 separate machining operations before it's considered ready for the next stage. And here's what makes it even more impressive. After all that machine precision, Rolex still finishes every single case by hand. Trained craftspeople, some of whom have spent 20 years doing nothing but polishing watch cases, use a combination of brushed and mirror finishes on the same piece of metal. If you've ever noticed that a Rolex has different surface textures, some parts mirror bright, some with a brushed satin look that's intentional, and every single transition between those surfaces is done by hand, by eye, to within fractions of a millimeter. One mistake and the case is scrapped, not reworked. Scrapped. If the case is the body of a Rolex, the movement is the soul. And this is where things get truly extraordinary. A watch movement is the mechanical engine that keeps time. It is made up of anywhere from 200 to over 350 individual components: gears, springs, levers, wheels, each machined to microscopic tolerances. Almost every luxury watch brand buys their movements from outside suppliers, primarily from Switzerland's ETA company or the Swatch Group, not Rolex. Rolex designs, engineers, and manufactures every single movement component in-house. Every gear, every spring, every jewel bearing. Their caliber movements, like the famous caliber 3235 inside a modern Datejust, contain 286 components. The mainspring alone, when fully wound, can power the watch for 70 hours. The escapement, the mechanism that actually measures time by releasing the gear train in precise, controlled steps, operates at a rate of 28,800 beats per hour, or 8 beats per second. Every single beat is the movement physically catching and releasing a gear tooth at that frequency for 70 straight hours, thousands of times a day. For decades. Now, consider this. The components that make this possible are machined to tolerances measured in micrometers, and they have to hold those tolerances not just when new, but across 30 or 40 years of daily wear. That's not engineering, that's obsession. We're about halfway through, and it's only getting more insane. Subscribe so you never miss a factory inside deep dive. By now you've probably noticed a theme. Every part of a Rolex is made in-house, held to extreme tolerances, and verified multiple times. The dial, the face of the watch, is no exception. Rolex produces its own dials at a dedicated facility in Geneva. Each dial is stamped from a brass or gold disc, then undergoes galvanic treatment, an electrochemical process that deposits a microscopic layer of metal onto the surface to give it that deep, lustrous color. The famous Rolex Sunray dials, the ones that seem to radiate light from the center, are created by a brushing process that leaves microgrooves radiating outward in perfect concentric patterns. Under magnification, they look like a vinyl record of pure light. Then come the hands. Rolex hands are cut from sheet metal, shaped, polished to a mirror finish, and then individually filled with luminescent material, a process called lume application that has to be performed under strict environmental controls. Each hand is placed onto the dial by a trained technician using tweezers under magnification. If a hand is even slightly misaligned, the watch fails visual inspection and goes back. And those hour markers, those simple applied indices on the dial, each one is hand set with a precision press, positioned to within fractions of a millimeter, and individually inspected. On top of the dial sits the crystal, and this is another area where Rolex simply refuses to compromise. Rolex uses synthetic sapphire crystal, not glass. Sapphire crystal registers 9 on the Mohs hardness scale. Diamond is 10. Your car windshield is about a 6. This is essentially the hardest transparent material that can be practically manufactured at scale. What makes the Rolex Sapphire unique is the internal anti-reflective coating applied to the underside of the crystal to prevent glare from obscuring the dial, and the Cyclops lens above the date window. That little magnifying bubble, it magnifies the date by 5 times, and it's not just glued on. It's a precisely formed sapphire lens integrated during the crystal manufacturing process itself. The bezel, the ring around the crystal, tells its own story. For sports models like the Submariner, it's made from ceramic, specifically Rolex's proprietary Cerachrom material. So hard that only a diamond tool can scratch it. So stable that it will never fade. Ever? The engraving on the Cerachrom bezel, filled with platinum physical vapor deposition, a molecular thin film process that deposits platinum atoms directly into the engraved grooves. Here's a piece of history that most Americans don't know. Rolex invented the waterproof watch. In 1926, Hans Wilsdorf, Rolex's founder, patented the Oyster case, a hermetically sealed watch case that could withstand water immersion. At the time, this was considered impossible. A year later, swimmer Mercedes Gleitz wore a Rolex across the English Channel. After 10 hours in the water, the watch was still running perfectly. Rolex took out a full-page ad in the Daily Mail. The modern luxury watch was born. Nearly 100 years later, the Oyster system still defines how Rolex is made. Every component that connects to the case, the crown, the caseback, the crystal, uses a threaded locking mechanism. When you screw down the crown on a Rolex, you're engaging precision threads machined to tolerances tight enough to keep water out at 100, 200, even 300 meters of depth. Every single Rolex watch is tested, not sampled, not batch tested. Every individual watch in a pressurized water resistance testing machine before it leaves the factory. Pass, fail, No exceptions, no shortcuts. Now comes the moment every component has been building toward: final assembly. The movement is mounted in the case. The dial is secured. The hands are set. The crown is torqued to precise specifications. The bracelet is attached. And then the testing begins. Every single Rolex movement before it ever gets near a case must pass the COSC certification test. COSC stands for Contrôle Officiel Suisse des Chronometres, the official Swiss chronometer testing institute. The COSC test runs the movement for 16 consecutive days across 5 different positions and 3 different temperatures. The movement is allowed a variation of no more than -4 to +6 seconds per day. But here's the part that separates Rolex from every other COSC-certified brand. Rolex then takes the movement, puts it in the case, and runs their own internal test, the superlative chronometer certification, to a tighter standard, -2 to +2 seconds per day, in a finished, fully assembled watch, not on a test bench, in an actual Rolex. For context, a 2-second per day variation over the course of a year means the watch gains or loses less than 12 minutes annually. Your iPhone doesn't even bother with that level of precision. If the watch fails, it goes back to the movement lab, not to the shelf. Back to the beginning. At this point, you might assume a machine does the final quality check. After all, if your tolerances are in the single-digit micrometers, shouldn't a computer be checking them? At Rolex, the final inspection is done by a human being. Trained quality control inspectors examine every watch by eye, under magnification, checking the polish on every facet of every surface. They look for polishing marks, surface imperfections, any inconsistency in the transitions between brushed and mirror finishes. They check alignment of every hand against every index on the dial. They check the bracelet for consistent link tightness, for uniform surface finish across every single link. They check the engraving on the caseback, the serial number, the reference number, the Rolex crown for depth, consistency, and clarity. And then, if and only if the watch passes every single one of these checks, it receives the Rolex Green Seal. It is boxed, documented, and released to the world. Total time from raw metal to finished watch, between 12 and 18 months. For a watch that will last 50 years, or 100, or more. So now you know, when someone asks you why a Rolex costs $10,000, $20,000, or in some cases much more, this is the answer. It's not the marketing. It's not the celebrity endorsements. It's not the green crown logo. It's the fact that Rolex melts their own steel, designs their own alloys, machines their own gears to 1,000th of a millimeter, trains craftspeople for years to hand polish surfaces to a standard that machines cannot replicate, tests every single watch, not a sample, every watch for 16 days before it ships. It's the fact that a Rolex bought in 1970 is still running today, that a Rolex bought today will likely outlive everyone in this room. There are watches that cost more. There are watches that are more complicated. There are watches that display more information, but there may not be a single mass-produced object on Earth that is manufactured to higher standards than a Rolex watch. And that for over a century is exactly what they've refused to tell you about. Until now, that was the Rolex factory, as close as anyone outside of Geneva has ever gotten. If you want to go deeper on luxury manufacturing secrets, we've also done the story on how Louis Vuitton bags are made, and how Patek Philippe builds watches that make even Rolex engineers nervous. Links are right there on your screen. Subscribe if you haven't already. We drop a new factory deep dive every week, and I'll see you inside the next one.